welcome to WarrenThornton.com, in obviously alongside Unprecedented TV, and also Paul Brooker from Brooker TV. Paul, my usual, shall we say, my usual confidant or partner in crime, I should say. Paul, you're looking very, very spotless tonight, I must say.
Oh, well, thank you very much, Warren. I am looking a little bit glorious in white. You're not looking too bad yourself, as we always know. And
Man.
I'm trying to catch up on Trump's visit, and it's been a busy one, Warren. I don't know if you've had much time to keep up on it.
Yes, yeah, we've had a good look, and of course we've had all sorts of nonsense. We've had protests and all sorts coming out about Trump and everything. Shall we say the mainstream or the lamestream media have been out trying to cause all sorts of nonsense and everything else, and it's simply not true. It has gone down pretty well, and we all know why he's there. He's been invited across because Britain are trying to butter him up over the war that's going on in Ukraine, and that's not going to stop. There are, of course, lots and lots of people coming out with a load of nonsense, but the actual Trump protest didn't even fill Parliament Green, would you believe? Now, Parliament Green is the area in front of the Houses of Parliament, for those who are not British and don't know. And very, very simply, let's have a quick look here. This is the area in front of Parliament. Now, there were around 5,000 people because they stopped them after a while. Now, it has been literally, that's about 50 square metres by about 50 square metres. They're allowed anywhere between 1,500 and 2,000 people on there, should we say, to stop the what is going on, too many people getting on there and it being a crowd. Now, you can fit 2,000 people on there quite easily. If you were doing it back to back, and they had to do this experiment, Paul and I know one of the guys who works in the Houses of Parliament, and he said that they actually had to do a health and safety thing, and you can get 4,000 people on that green back to back if you just squat them all up. If, for health and safety reasons, obviously there's cameras and everything moving about, 2,000, but police tend to go, let's go super safe and only call it 1,500. So there's only about 5,000 people have gone there at all, Paul Brooker. And when you think of the amount you could actually get in there, just goes to show how well attended the actual rally was on Saturday and how poorly attended this demonstration against Donald Trump was with people like Narendra Kaur there, who tried to make out that there were thousands and thousands of people there. Even the Met Police have got egg on their face the second time because they're saying it was a massive event, and it simply wasn't.
Well, if that was the picture of the event, and I'm sorry, but I was there on Saturday, that was a drop in the ocean, what you just showed on that picture just then, Warren.
Yes.
I'm sorry, that if that was all there was, they are, dare I say it, not very loud at all. Because I can tell you now, Saturday's march was beyond belief. Beyond belief. Hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people turned up. So, and most of them like Trump. Because obviously you get to talk to everybody. Everybody wants Trump to come to the UK and do exactly what he's done to the US here. Why can't we deploy our National Guard across towns to make them safer? Why can't we shut the border? We've got a navy. We are an island. Ours is easier than ever. We can just sink the boats. Or put them on some sort of island, and I always joke about the Orkney Islands, put them up there. Let them sweat it out in the cold for a while and see how long they want to stay. Because I can tell you now, when the grass is greener in UK, people are going to keep coming. So yes, I am all for Trump on his stance on immigration, 100%. And those people on the green, they're probably just woke lefties anyway. So I'm not really paying them too much attention.
Well, here's a short video snippet of the Great Unwashed.
We have
I mean, just have a look at them. They've dragged their kids out to this protest. Look at them. They can't be any more than 12, 13 years of age, Paul Brooker. So this was, the people who were coming out to protest Trump, and they held them there before they marched them up there and everything else. What a damp squib, Paul. I mean, that's quite embarrassing.
Yeah, I think it is actually. And well, looking at the sample of people there, they don't fill my hearts with the backbone of a country that are going to work hard and make this country great. I dare I say, a lot of them look like they had nothing else to do with their lives but turn up there.
Yeah, very much along those lines when you sort of look at it and you go, this almost like a paid idiotic thing that is going on. And of course, the more that people are looking at this and calling it out, of course, the more of a meltdown they're having. The left sort of are, if we can call it the left, they're beginning to lose the plot, aren't they, here?
Oh, I think they are losing the plot. And we are now seeing an unprecedented amount of violence now. Unprecedented amount of violence from the left. And
Yes.
it is very much concerning me, really concerning me, because they've attacked or attempted to assassinate Trump. They've attacked and assassinated Charlie Kirk. We've got to sit here and go, is it me or are the left the violent ones out of all of this?
Well, you
Because
have
it
to
seems
wonder.
like
Yeah. Well, you have to wonder, don't you, buddy? Because I've got something to show you, which is quite staggering. Now, I'm not sure if it's exactly the same police officer or not, because I've seen a police officer that's looked very similar. But let's just have a little look at this, because this is quite remarkable. Let's have a look.
no sound, Warren, just to let
No
you know.
sound.
You'll need to start the share again, buddy.
Oh, sorry, we got a problem.
You didn't check
no
the box to turn on sound.
Let's have a little look. Thank you very much. Let's put the sound on because it's 10 times better with the sound on always. Let's have a little look at this. This is a so-called female police officer protesting a flag being put up.
Clearly, you're not uniting by using it like this, are you?
Like what? How are we using it? How are we using it? Excuse me, how are we using it? How are we abusing it? Explain, have a conversation.
Because you're using it to spread hate.
No, we're not.
Yes, you are.
No, we're not.
There we go. Jimmy Cranky there, who is a female police officer, apparently. What is wrong with these people?
They are mentally unhinged. And I'm worried now that I'm thinking, how many unhinged people are we putting into positions of power? Properly unhinged people. Are we creating masses of problems by doing this? Because I'm just going to share something with you, and this is a statistic that has just come out, and it is terrifying me in America. This is what violence rates look like depending on political party.
Wow.
That is Democrat violence
Staggering.
versus Republican violence.
Dear God.
So just to read this out to everybody. So this is in 2023, combined violence rates by party. Democrats, 21,765 incidents of violence. Republicans, 858.
Dear God. That is staggering, isn't it? So you're 21 times more likely to suffer some sort of violent encounter with somebody who votes Democrat. Would that be right?
That's what it's looking like all over the place, Warren. All right, maybe you could argue that there might be slightly more Democrats, but the last election in America tells you there's more Republicans. So all I can say is I don't think you could use that argument to make it stand up. But yes, we are now seeing Democrats being far more likely to use violence. And what falls under all of that? The trans agenda, everything else. So basically,
Let's
Sorry,
have a
go on.
bang about that then, Paul, because we've got this here from J.K. Rowling, who is one of the people who could be in the firing line. Pardon the pun. I didn't mean it in the way that it sounds, but she could be in the firing line for the next lunatic, because she's had a lot to say on the trans agenda. She says words are not violence. When you pretend that views that oppose your own are violence, you are justifying the use of actual violence towards the speaker. Gender ideology's reliance on tropes and slogans like words of violence, its constant rationalisation and justification of using force against opponents, and its preference for enforcing compliance through fear rather than permitting debate, are straight out of fascism's playbook. The function of propaganda is not to weigh and ponder the rights of different people, but exclusively to emphasise the one right which it has set out to argue for. Its task is not to make an objective study of the truth insofar as it favours the enemy, then set it before the masses with academic fairness. Its task is to serve our own right, always and unflinchingly. The words are Hitler's, and they're from Mein Kampf, by the way. But I must have seen trans activists say the same thing, barely rephrased 1,000 times. Your movement seeks to remove rights from others. It's anti-truth and critical thinking, pro-violence, pro-dehumanisation of those who disagree with you, and you are so lacking in self-awareness, you cannot see that you are precisely what you pretend to hate. Paul.
Wow. J.K. Rowling, for the majority of what she says, I am totally behind her. There are a few bits and pieces here that I disagree with, but on this, I think she's absolutely right. And it's terrifying how they can force their ideology on us, and we're not allowed to say, no, I don't believe that, with respect to our own ideologies. Can you not see where this is going? They want to force their ideologies on us. It's not just existing, they want to force us to accept them. And I'm sorry, but no, you are not going to force me to accept something that is biologically wrong. I'm sorry, you just can't.
Yeah, absolutely right. And while you're on it, Paul, let's have a little look at this. Okay, I've got another example here. This is Bristol City Council. Let's have a look at what they.
Just Bristol City Council's response to the Supreme Court judgment. Is Catherine here?
Consultation states it will need to review and update policies and procedures, but it's clear the response was made without consulting women other than those aligned with gender ideology. This lack of consultation is signalled by the Council's recommendation to use terms like people with ovaries or people who use paternity services when referring to pregnant women. The idea that paternity services is a gender-neutral term and the advocacy for phrases like people who chest feed raises huge concern.
So, chest feeders, Paul, and then we had, while she was speaking, this happened.
Guy, don't do it. Sit down. Very good. You're around the pity. Listen what the concern is.
Yes, please.
These people shouldn't be serving on our council, should they, Paul?
Did they stage a walkout then, Warren?
Yes, they did, yeah, while she was speaking.
I'm flabbergasted that they want to deem a pregnant woman, who's proud to be pregnant, might you add, as paternal services or a chest feeder. What an insult to women. That is not gender neutral. That is insulting a woman who breastfeeds, a woman who carries a child lovingly. This is disgusting that they want to absolutely diminish the value, the honour, the right to be a woman carrying a child. That is truly disgusting. And their ideologies can do one as far as I'm concerned. No way am I accepting that. Full stop.
No, I'm not. I'm exactly with you as well. And of course, it's going to get worse and worse. And we've talked about this a lot, part of the depopulation agenda and everything that they're pushing. But one of this thing that they're pushing is 10 times more savage and 10 times more awful than most things that they are pushing. Just for instance, I'll give you a for instance. We'll go through a couple of things here just while we're doing it, Paul. The amount of how can I put this? Stupidity that is out there. We've got this, for instance. This was a memorial.
He lives as he dies, promoting violence. Report all you want.
No, look at this shit. Check it out. Look at this shit.
She lost her job and her home because of that outburst. I don't see where these people come from, Paul.
Here's a question. She says he promoted violence. He didn't promote violence.
No.
He promoted conversation. She used violence just then to get her point across. So you tell me, who's the violent one out of them?
Yes, it's absolutely. When you're talking about the violence and everything else, we've got a couple of other things that are to do. Look, for instance, we had, you know, the poor, obviously, Charlie Kirk dying. Now, this is a little bit harrowing, but I think it's worth putting because this is a man who was actually in the car with Charlie Kirk at the time on the way to the hospital.
What'd you do? I got in the car. Because if there was any way I could save him, I had to do something. I couldn't just take him. You guys got it. So they got him into the side of the car. It was an SUV. It was the SUV we took over. And I'm on one side, and there's actually some video of this. Somebody was taking video of this. I'm on one side of the car, the right side, and they're getting Charlie in. So I run over to the other side, but the guy who was dragging him in is now blocking that entrance. So at that point, I run around to the back. I pop the back gate open, and I jump in the back. The car lurches forward. Apparently somebody jumped in the car. So the car lurches forward. So I almost fall out of the car, the SUV. Then I grab the thing and close it. And there's 5 of us in the car now. Justin's driving. Dan is up front with the GPS. Rick has got him. Rick's on my left, and Brian is there, and I'm coming over the back seat, and Charlie's laid out in front, just right in front of me. And Charlie's so tall, we can't close the door. We drove 4 miles, I don't know, it's 4 something miles, all the way to the hospital with the door open. To this day, I don't know how Brian stayed in the car, because we're just go. We're trying to stop the bleeding. You saw it. And I'm yelling, come on, Charlie, come on. Meanwhile, my phone is still on. My son and daughter-in-law are hearing this whole thing. And his security team, again, Justin, Dan, Brian, and Rick, they love Charlie. But they were much cooler than I mean, they're just carrying out, they're calmly, but they're swiftly doing exactly what they were trained to do. Rick starts praying out loud. I'm praying out loud. We're yelling, come on, let's go. Charlie wasn't there. His eyes were fixed. He wasn't looking at me. He was looking past me right into eternity. He was with Jesus already. He was killed instantly and felt absolutely no pain. That's what I was told later. But of course, we had to try.
Clearly still traumatized from events, as anybody would be. Is anybody who's seen anybody shot and dead bodies like that? Your thoughts, Paul?
He was dead. He was dead instantly.
Yes.
If that video's anything to go by, that's exactly what happened.
Well,
the moment you saw him seize up, that was his nerves firing one last time. And unfortunately, that was it. I've got a couple more videos to talk about with regards to Charlie Kirk, because I've got some questions, and I am following Candice Owens quite closely about her journey on what's going on. And I'm going to play... I'm not sure I want to do this now, actually, after that, because that was quite a moment. So I'll probably save it to a little bit later on in the show, if that's okay.
Okay, not a problem. So let's get into some of the fallout from that then, because we've had Jimmy Kimmel now suspended. So Jimmy Kimmel obviously has been suspended from his show. There's been a major meltdown about this Jimmy Kimmel thing, and I'll just I'm just going to play this one video now to show you what exactly happened, why he was taken off the air.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger pointing, there was grieving. On Friday, the White House flew the flags at half-staff, which got some criticism. But on a human level, you can see how hard the president is taking this.
My condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. May I ask, sir, personally, how are you holding up over the last day and a half, sir?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks? They've just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House, which is something they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years. And it's going to be a beauty.
Yes. He's at the fourth stage of grief, construction. Demolition, construction.
To be fair, I don't think Trump really heard it above the helicopter and was just giving a generic answer. But the fact that there are people cheering and applauding what was clearly quite a horrible incident, had this been somebody else, is it any wonder this guy's been cut loose?
Oh, I'll tell you what, the winds of policies and politics are changing, aren't they?
They are.
You know, you go back, he would have still been on the show, still doing his thing now if Biden and the Democrats are in charge. He got it wrong. Obviously, it's not a Republican. He's a Democrat as Democrat can get with his partner, shall we say. And it's strange that we're all still throwing around cancel culture. It is very strange. But at the end of the day, and I'll never forget this, I watched The Comedian and he said, there is always something that will trigger somebody. He said, I would be surprised if you didn't watch me and find something that triggered you. And actually, I'm sitting here and I'm going, do you know what? There will always be something that will trigger somebody. And do we need to get away from cancel culture in general? I mean, the numbers and statistics would tell you whether he did good or not in that show. And I don't know. I don't know where we're at. Social media has just created this monster now. That where do we go from this? Because this is the new norm.
Well, we're going to get worse, and there's things here. So we got Brian Krasenstein saying I am Antifa, like the absolute moron that he is. It was quite staggering that he would say something like that after what has happened. We also had Donald Trump come out and say that he is about, and pleased to inform many USA patriots, on designating Antifa a sick, dangerous, radical left disaster as a major terrorist organization. I'll be strongly recommending that those funding Antifa be thoroughly investigated in accordance with the highest legal standards and practices. The usual thank you for your attention on this matter. They're going to be calling these people in to a Senate subcommittee to discuss everything that's going on with that, platforms such as Reddit and everything else. And of course, the chief executive officers of Discord, Steam, Twitch and Reddit to testify in a full committee hearing on October the 8th, 2025. This is clearly going down, but are we missing a trick here? Because obviously this guy was into some fairly heavy crap, shall we say, to do with all sorts of disgusting things. I mean, the Mail carried a story about the suspect with his kinks, things to do with paedophilic friends, furry shades of gay games and everything that he would log into, and his sickening cache of porn searches. It took about 2 seasons or 2 semesters, as they would call it over there, for him to get radicalized into this sort of thing. And his father has come out and said, as a father, turning in my own son was the hardest thing I've ever done, but watching Charlie Kirk's family suffer is a pain no parent should endure. That's why every dollar, and they have got a GoFundMe for this guy, set up by the far left, will go to them, because justice means standing with the victims, not excusing the guilty. That's some father, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a man who's got principles. You can obviously see that. I bet he's kicking himself now that he didn't see the signs.
Yeah.
His son doesn't look terribly straight-laced to me in those photos.
Yeah.
And obviously, you know, it turns out he's got a trans partner now, and you can just see all the boxes being ticked. But what does this say about our education system? What does it say? Because we all know most college, university campuses are now, dare I say it, infected with these liberal teachers who are putting God knows what into people's minds. Because let's be fair, as we saw from the statistics earlier, Democrats, the far left, whatever you want to call it, are more susceptible to violence. And this is a hard proven fact. Hard proven. So what does this tell us? That actually they've empowered, they've given the inmates the keys and allowed them to run free. And that's the problem we've got at the moment, because I can tell you now, Charlie Kirk would be alive today if the far left were not allowed to run free like they have been.
Yeah. Now we'll just get the views of other people first of all. You've got some more on this, obviously. Mark Breckle.
Well, again, that Reddit, I think that's on its last legs in Russia again, because I think it's on the list with the meter. But again, so it's only a matter of time. You can't keep having these platforms. But the thing is, though, you've got to hit these Antifa lot and just get rid of these, because it seems a shame if you ban these platforms that's causing this, when it's actually the Antifa lot that's pushing this agenda and this transgender. So something needs to, because it is a shame if you lose platforms just because of these radicals.
Yes. We've got loads of people want to talk on this. Robert and then Andy FX.
Antifa is too useful to Israel.
Okay.
They must, and they are a useful tool to they provide the street thugs for Soros's operations in non-government organizations.
Okay, that's a fair
point.
And
Trump knows about Soros, and he being under the thumb of Israel, he's not going to act against Soros, and Soros who controls Antifa.
Okay, there we are. So that's Robert's opinion there. Andy FX.
Yeah, just Interpol came out with a report there. I don't know whether you've seen it, where they're warning Europe about the far left, that the left is actually one of the most dangerous kind of like organizations at the moment, and most of the violence does come from the left. But just on the Antifa thing, you see, the likes of they're there. We all know why they're there. But the problem about banning them or getting rid of them is then they go underground and they do it even more cold. I'd be more inclined to keep them out in the open, go in, dilute down the lunatics and monitor them and kind of water down their organization, rather than, because if they go underground, they're just going to get even more dangerous, in my opinion.
Okay. So, Paul, do they punish the ringleaders, or are they missing a trick because we've got a much deeper problem in our schools and universities?
I think we need to force a balanced dialogue in our schools and universities. We can't allow one thinking to reign supreme in there, because as we've seen, there's a lot of teachers that are quite hardlined. I've seen the speeches in these classrooms, and this is bad. And I'm sorry, children suffer enough growing up. They're experimenting. They're trying to understand who they are in the world and everything. And to have teachers lean on them going, you should be able to force your will, your views upon somebody else, is dangerous. It's dangerous. It's emboldening people who maybe should not be emboldened. That's a scary thing. And just to finish it off, I'm sitting here thinking, how many people could be alive right now because we did not allow these lefts to be dealt with early on.
Yeah. Now you've got some stuff because you've been following Candace Owens on this. I will just say this, that Macron's come out with a bizarre thing. Very, 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 very weird that Macron is now coming out and saying, "Oh, we're going to take Candace Owens to court. We're going to prove that my wife is not a man. We're going to have scientific and documented evidence." They could have produced this ages ago, couldn't they, Paul? Just gives them.
Oh, they could have. But Warren, wait for it. They're not saying blood test. They are saying, and this is the exact wording, photographic evidence and scientific evidence. Not once have they said a blood test or a DNA test.
What scientific evidence? Is it? What's she going to drop her pants on live on stage? I mean,
well, don't forget as well is once they've had it all chopped off and everything, they can be made to look like a woman.
Photos can be doctored, so I'm not having that. Why doesn't she just go and have a DNA test? Or I'll tell you what, here's the easiest way to do it. Go and have your pelvis x-rayed in front of Candace Owens and put it up on the internet. Because a woman's pelvis is completely different to a man's.
Yeah. Warren, there are too many easy tests that can be done to prove this.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, the fact that they're trying to get clever with the wording tells me a lot. It tells me we cannot trust them. And don't forget, this will blow the lid off, because if Brigitte Macron's proved to be a man, and at the moment, this is all hearsay because nothing has been through the courts yet.
Absolutely.
Well, that's going to raise even bigger concerns now about Obama's wife.
There may be absolutely nothing wrong with Brian whatsoever, Paul.
Absolutely right. And then, does this then start giving rein to what we think we know about Keir Starmer? And I watched an interview the other day with a black cab who says there's rumours everywhere about Starmer and his antics.
Yes.
Everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's happening with the Macron then, Paul? What's happening with Candace Owens then, Paul?
I haven't actually got any videos on Candace Owens, I'm afraid. I've been watching them because I'm still trying to digest it all and just put it into context for the show. But it's interesting because she is doubling down on this big style, and she is doubling down on the Charlie Kirk stuff as well. And so much so that I've now done some digging into the Charlie Kirk stuff, and I'm going to bring these videos up now in the most utmost respect for the man himself.
Okay.
Episode of You Might Be a Dumb Motherfucker. This is my rifle. It takes two different tools to take it apart. It takes a Torx key and an Allen key. Now, if I take a shot and immediately disassemble this, I have to remove the bolt, remove the magazine, grab my Allen key, hit the two bolts on the bottom, put those away in the Allen key, grab my Torx key, remove the scope, put everything in the backpack, make sure I have everything, and make my way downtown. Okay, which is going to take a lot longer for him than it is for me, especially because his fine-tuned motor function, something as simple as grabbing an Allen key to a little bolt, is going to be extremely impaired due to a dump of adrenaline throughout his bloodstream. An extreme elevated heart rate is going to make these fine-tuned skills extremely difficult. I mean, just for him to think and analyze of what needs to be done to disassemble this rifle and get away would be difficult. And we're not even going to touch the topic of him assembling the rifle on top of the roof, which if you reassemble a rifle and you take a cold dead shot, it's not going to be 100% accurate. Okay, or the fact that he disassembled this after taking a shot, which the rifle's going to be hot and they found no gloves. There's just so many inconsistencies that just makes zero sense. I mean, I'm still working on this, and I have taken this rifle apart 1,000 times. And now he has to put the pieces of the rifle into a backpack. And this is a gigantic backpack. Shout out Wolfpack, best backpacks on the fucking planet. Anyways, as you can see, this barrel, broken down, does not fit in this backpack. And this is a big boy, way bigger than the one that he was carrying. Okay, I put the rifle stock in here, and guess what? It doesn't fit. It sticks out. Now let's just say, for sake of argument, that he put these in his pant leg and he was walking. These are still so long broken down that he would not be able to walk straight. He wouldn't be able to bend his legs. Doesn't make fucking sense.
I would like everybody's thoughts on this, because it's quite compelling what that gent's done there.
Okay, not for me, but let's hear from other people. Other people may have completely different ideas on this. Ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. We have, who's first? Who put their hand up and took it back down again? Lee Williams.
I was going to say that's a lovely bit of music. It's actually a sense of the people that's about. It's not right. It's not right. Everybody knows that.
Okay, Sean Murphy.
Well, they found the rifle. We saw a photograph of it. They found the rifle wrapped in a towel.
Yes.
So he didn't disassemble it.
Exactly.
He didn't put it in a backpack.
No.
He just wrapped it in a towel to disguise it, carried it off into the bushes and dumped it. That rifle doesn't look as though it's been disassembled in any way whatsoever.
No,
And
it
doesn't look, to be honest, doesn't really look as though it could be disassembled without being disassembled by an armourer or somebody who is well practiced in it, especially if you want to make a quick getaway. So I can imagine that was the way the rifle was found, that was wrapped in the towel.
Yep. So very simply, let's get this, and I'll answer that for you in a second, Armitage. But I want to get everybody's thoughts. We had Eric Jones next, then Robert. Eric Jones.
Yeah. You telling me he got that close to this public event with a rifle wrapped in a towel?
Well,
I mean, this just smells just too badly, Warren. I don't buy it. I'm not buying it.
Fair enough. Robert's thoughts.
Let me see. He had help getting it there. My only experience of a rifle is the old 303. That's a pretty lumpy old piece of work, but it was a good rifle.
Yes.
He had to get that rifle to the show. He couldn't walk through the streets with it.
No.
He had help getting it there. It was delivered and given to him. And Israel have their fingers all over this.
Okay. Now, is that everybody? Is that everyone? Okay. Paul, you've got another video on this, have you? Or
I have, and I just want to join in on this because obviously the video quite clearly of him running across the roof doesn't show the gun sticking out the bag. Doesn't show him carrying the towel.
It does.
With the rifle in it.
Yeah, when you zoom in, it does.
Oh, it does it?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
so he never took the rifle apart. That's what we're agreeing on.
Yep.
But then, so obviously he built it, but the videos of him walking up don't show it in the bag. I mean, obviously I don't know how big this bag is that he's got.
So we've got something in the chat here. From Armitage. So here's the thing: his mother worked at the college. He knows the place absolutely. He knows the layout of it. No problem whatsoever. It's very, very easy to find a hiding place to get your rifle, zero it in, get everything ready to take the shot and leave it on the premises. Why would you carry it when you've got access to that college and all its areas and everything else? Very simply, you can just take the rifle there and hide it. Climb up on the roof, or get up on the roof for a skylight or whatever, and then you can take your shot. And of course, we know that he didn't disassemble it because you can see him when you get close up. You can see that he gets down with a rifle wrapped in a towel. Okay, and it's not the biggest rifle you've ever come across. It's not like matey boys there with a proper sniper's rifle. You know, it's a huge bloody thing. I'll tell you what, get the same weapon and take it apart. But if you don't want to be seen walking through the streets, if you've got a brain, your rifle is already on the premises close to where you want to take the shot from. So you stick it there, I don't know, the night before, the day before, whatever you want to do. Remember, the event is held at a weekend. Who's to say you can't climb up there on a Friday night, place the rifle in a hiding place, and then you just pick it up? So very, very simply, he said he was planning it for about a week, or so he said. Now, there's going to be lots of people, but the simplest explanation is normally the easiest. Let's put it this way. If I'm going to carry it out, I don't want to be lumping a rifle round. I want under the cover of darkness, Paul, I want to put it somewhere where I can get easy access to it, take the shot, and then get away. But let's hear from Robert. Robert.
Let me see. Unless there's film of him actually firing the rifle, it's just, he's supposed to have done it. But what if he's really a patsy put up by Israel,
Okay.
the Israel lobby, and, one day we'll find out someone else did it.
Well, let's see, because for me, I'm sticking with what I have seen. So from what I've seen so far, and the fact that the grandfather and the father were contacting him in the messages to turn around and say, "Where's the rifle? What have you done with it? We need a photograph of it to make sure it's So they obviously had an inkling, Paul. And if the father and the grandfather are lying, if they're lying, and I'm not saying that they're telling, if the FBI are lying, and they might well be making up all sorts of nonsense because they don't know how he got the rifle there and all the other things. But if they are lying, Paul, if the FBI are lying, the father and the grandfather would be coming out and going, "That's not true. We never had that conversation with him."
Yeah, I like I say, I think we're starting to see more pieces drop into place now on this puzzle. I'm still not 100% sure he was on his own, because George Zinn, or whatever his name was, shouting out. Your first reaction is to shout out and say, "I shot him." I mean,
I think there's probably a group of them inside that Discord server, all the tranny lot or whatever, that have got, how can I put it, but probably had prior knowledge that somebody was going to do something or whatever, and they were all talking about it. I mean, they're obviously, every single one of them that were in that Discord server talking about this are completely off their heads. They're completely owned by this thing that they believe in. And of course, the fact that they're having these discussions is pretty awful. Now, you've got another one, haven't you? You've got another video you want to look at.
I did, but I've accidentally closed it now. And it was just on one of the gentlemen taking the camera down from behind the actual stage, just after the shooting, and he wasn't FBI. But
I mean, it was like the thing, Paul, where you get, where people were saying, there was a guy signaling people in the crowd. And if you've ever worked close security with people like that, where people are making gestures like that because they're saying, pay attention to two people in the crowd, pay attention to that guy, the guy with the hat, the guy with the earring, and everything else. But it's people who've never worked in that industry, or never fired a rifle, or never shot someone. And that's not saying that people can't be right. They can. But the most simple explanation for me, if I'm going to take that shot, the rifle's already there, because I'm not carrying it in the open in broad daylight, Paul. I'm just not.
In a towel.
Yeah. So, but when I finish, I mean, the guy's clearly panicked when he's finished. And he even says in his Discord messages that he left it there and he wanted to go back for it, but there were too many police there. But he's able to pick out the actual area that he left it, and the squad car that was there. So, but these what I'm saying is, my concern is the whole group of people and the whole movement that is behind this, killing a guy who actually had nothing against gay people at all. In fact, when other people said, "Oh, they're terrible, you're a Christian, you should be against gays," he turned around and said, "I'm not." He said, "People will live all their lives." He said, "I'm a Christian, so I'm tolerant." But there you go.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right there, Warren. It's just one of them, isn't it? It's just, we've got to sit here and just go, do you know what? The logical and the most simplest answer is normally the right answer. And I just don't think the FBI are finished yet. I think they're looking for more people.
Do you know what I think as well? And I'm going to put this out there, and people are going to shout me down for this. This is, let's have to try and deflect everything from this, because then we don't talk about Butler, Pennsylvania. And if anybody thinks that guy on that roof that got shot took that shot at Donald Trump, I've bridge to sell you. Yeah. Because that is a conspiracy, without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing as well is you think after last year with the guy who took the shot at Trump off the roof, nobody in Kirk's security team just put one person on a roof with a pair of binoculars. Not one person.
And they weren't on there, Paul, for health and safety reasons, right? Because of the slope of the roof and the angle of the roof. And yet the sniper teams that were in place were on a more sloping roof. Hello.
Yeah. Yeah. This is the bit that, do you know what? His security team have failed him. They have failed him. There's no if, buts, or maybes in this.
Yeah.
And you just think, if they just had one more person on a roof, just one person on a roof, would he still be here now?
Here's the thing, though, Paul. At the end of the day, the old adage is nobody is ever safe from an assassin's bullet. The person who's willing to die in the attempt is always the most surefire way of killing someone. But you're never safe from an assassin's bullet. But a pro, he shoots from cover. He shoots from cover. That's why you know the guy who took the shot at Butler, Pennsylvania, was laying on a roof 150 yards away. If he's a pro, I'm a Dutchman's uncle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He didn't even have the right rifle for the job.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Right, and I'm just...
Lee Williams.
Quick one. Did anybody see any of the sign language between the people that was around him? Just as a guess?
It's not for me. There's people like, scratching their arms, and there's people going like this, and people talking all sorts of things and everything else. But show me why would anybody who is standing directly behind Charlie Kirk be involved in a conspiracy to kill him? You would be so easy to spot because you're doing this or you're doing that or whatever. What they're doing is signaling, look, guy with a hat and the earring. See, we've done. Yeah. It's been done a million times. Paul Brooker,
you wouldn't be in front of all the main cameras, would you?
No, of course you
just wouldn't.
Of course you wouldn't. All you got to do is press a little key ring in your pocket, and it goes beep to where the assassin is, and he shoots. You wouldn't be doing all of this.
But I'm just going to end this on a bit of this little segment on a bit of good news, and the Turning Point USA board have unanimously elected Erica Kirk as the new CEO and chair of the board. In prior discussions, Charlie expressed to multiple executives that this is what he wanted in the event of his death. So his wife is taking over.
Fair enough.
That's lovely.
So he's got his things, and there is a little lighter note on this. The fallout from this, of course, has been absolutely horrific, with lefties going mad left, right and centre. Now, there is a woman out there, Olivia Jubilani, who has told everybody, basically, Paul Brooker, that they should not eat lunch. They should all come out of their work canteens during the lunch break to protest this massive event. And this is Olivia Jubilani. I was just wondering if it's just because she's going to sneak into the lunchroom and nick it all.
Oh dear, Warren. Oh, dear. Right. Right, my next one, and I'm just going to change up the pace. I think the UK government's going bust.
So HMRC putting a kibosh on VAT repayments, yeah? We've got more clients at the minute with VAT repayments being withheld for like 300-400 grand, 10, 15 grand, you name it. Revenue are trying their level best not to pay money out to people. All kinds of daft reasons, no justification. So we've got people whose real life businesses are getting held up for some kind of policy that's going on at Revenue Towers that says don't pay out money. Our job here is to overcome those challenges for you and get that money in your bank account. Give us a shout at vatable.co.
Wow. I think the government's a little more broke than we realise. Because if they're now not handing out VAT repayments and they're only clawing it in, that tells me they've got a far bigger hole in the bank account than they're letting us know.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, mate. I think you're absolutely right. And of course, we know that Starmer. Here's the thing. I mean, Trump's called their bluff on this. He really has, because what he said with the sanctions is okay, you absolutely stop buying oil, all of it, and we'll sell you the oil that you need. Only problem is, of course, von der Leyen has killed herself, and she's killed the EU for ages to come, because she's agreed to a deal. And there are some people that are paying 2 times, 3 times, even 4 times as much for it. When they get the oil from America, they're buying it either anywhere between, it's now come out, they're buying it anywhere between 60% and 90% more than they would have paid Russia for it. And they're also going to pay the transit cost, which is then going to be put on to the oil, to the companies obviously buying that. They're going to have to pay twice as much for it. They're also going to have to pay the transit cost, and they're going to want to make their profit. So they're going to want a lot more. They're going to be bumping that up to maybe 3, 4, maybe even 5 times as much as you would normally pay for it. Mark Breckle.
Again, America's ripping everyone else off because they want to sell weapons, and then they want to sell the gas dearer. But when Russia sell it lower, they don't like it. They're starting to have a go now with India.
India are not going to buckle one.
No, definitely not. But this is it. You can't trust it. Can't trust Trump at the moment when he says things like that.
Yes. Yeah. Paul.
It's also worth noting that Trump and Starmer have just signed a $250 billion deal.
Yes.
I don't know the details of that yet, but that happened today. And you know, they're saying you need to get off the addiction to cheap Russian gas. So you actually want us to buy expensive American gas?
Yes.
I'm sorry, but you're probably getting that gas from Russia anyway, because Russia will sell it to some out there country who will then sell it to you, and then you just put your markup on it.
Yes.
No,
absolutely.
We need to make peace with Russia so we can all get our heads above water, where we are drowning in the overpriced life that this war has created.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Good, great point. Well made. Somebody put their hand up, took it down again. Who was that? No one. Okay. Eric Jones. Eric?
Yeah, being ripped off. I resent that, guys. Come on. I mean, geez. I mean, you can't be ripped off when you realize that the guy's screwing you when he's doing it. I mean, it's not really getting ripped off, is it?
Warren, where's the ban button? We've talked about this before with Eric.
Mate, honestly, we've got, at least you've got half cute leader. I mean, we've got, our leader is dumb as a box of rocks. Unbelievable. No, we don't blame you, Eric. We don't blame America at all. We blame Europe, von der Leyen, Starmer, Macron, Merz. I mean, I have never known, I don't know about you, Paul, I've never known a group of people so sick as to be, and so stupid, and with such a hatred of Russia, when you add in Baerbock and who's now at the UN, Baerbock, Callas, von der Leyen, and now, just to add on top of this, can I just make this point while we're at it? Krista Freeland is, that's the wrong picture. Krista Freeland, I'll get that picture up for you in a second, of Canada. She's now being moved into a position where she is going to be a principal in NATO to as an envoy to talk about the Russia situation. This is another woman who has got a Nazi, an absolute out-and-out Nazi grandfather, Paul Brooker.
Do you know what? And it scares me that someone told me once 12 families rule the world. And why is it we see the same families time and time again appear in positions of power throughout time? Is it me, or is this some sort of cabal that are running the world? Because that's what it sure as hell is looking like right now.
Yes. Mark Breckle, what's your family tree like?
Well, there's no Nazis in it, I'll tell you that, though. But Stalin had the right idea. He said there were 55,000 high-ranking Nazis. He said, put them up against the wall and shoot the lot of them. And Churchill refused. And if you look, who sent a rocket? Who sent a rocket up to the moon? And originally was part of the rocket production that used slave labour in Slavs in 45. Look him up, because he was the main guy in the Nazis that the Americans had to use for rocket power.
Yeah, took him across with Operation Paperclip.
So it just tells you everything, doesn't it, Warren?
It does. It does. And of course, they made a bit of an enclave in Canada, and I got in a lot of trouble for exposing them. Paul Brooker.
Oh, don't mention the
that
Germans.
you did, Warren.
Sorry, Paul.
Also, staying on the subject of the UK, it started, Warren. The building companies are collapsing.
Uh-oh.
Giant's collapse leaves debts of over £60 million unpaid. So this is on the Devon Live website. Ex-employees and hundreds of creditors are set to receive nothing. The collapse of a building arm of Devon construction giant Midas will leave debts of more than £46 million unpaid, it can be revealed. A new report from administrators for Midas Construction confirmed that there is no cash to pay more than £45 million to hundreds of unsecured creditors, a £1.5 million tax bill, and almost £400,000 to ex-employees. The company is expected to be dissolved by February next year, a full 4 years after the entire Midas Group went bust. Two other companies in the group have already been dissolved, meaning that overall Midas collapse has left more than £60 million unpaid. A newly published report on Companies House by the joint administrators revealed that the last hope of reclaiming up to £60 million from the disputed contracts has now gone, with only £259,000 recovered. And I can guarantee nearly all of that probably went into the administrators' pockets due to fees. It means there is not expected to be any money for people owed. That's a real shame. The administrators have been trying to claw back more than £28 million owed to Midas for contracts, but were hit by a significant number of termination notices and counterclaims in respect to unfinished contracts. There are also discussions over more than £32 million in disputed debts, and lawyers were brought in with the prospect of legal action. So really what's happened is the administrators have tried to pursue some of these debts, have realised that it's just not financially viable to do so, and have given up. Real shame. Lots of people have lost out.
Wow. That is quite staggering. It just goes to show the level of collapse that's about to happen, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And my brother works in the construction industry. It's slowed right down. Do you know the only people that are buying houses at the moment? Social housing.
Yes.
Social housing. And don't forget, the government is privatising council housing. That's what social housing is, privatisation. And you've got to sit here and you've got to go, this is awful, the speed at which they're destroying the world's economy, because it's getting out of hand. All the money's going to be sitting in, I don't know, 10% of the population, all of the money. And when the money's not worth anything, that's when everything collapses. And I'm sitting here going, do you know what? I think it's going to happen in my lifetime, Warren. And dare I say, it'll definitely happen in yours, I think.
Yes, all of that, all of the above. Paul.
Yeah. Right, and my fun story. God, you know what? Baggage handlers are epic at how they move luggage.
A baggage handler was caught on camera hurling luggage like an Olympic athlete. The footage was filmed from a terminal window and shows the ground staff member outside the plane's rear door. He can be seen catching items tossed by a colleague and flinging them with Herculean force onto the tarmac.
Yeah. You would have thought, wouldn't you, that they would have a little mini escalator, a little mini conveyor belt, you know, like they do when you're in there. And of course they're flinging them off there. Why don't they have one of those things that they just put up, they turn it on, they put the baggage on there, and it just feeds it down into the trolley?
Yeah, most definitely. And from what I can tell, is it's like a cartel, the airports. Everything costs money. Every piece of equipment costs money.
Yeah.
And by the looks of it, I think they just didn't want to pay.
Skin every penny. Sean Murphy and then Lee Williams. Sean Murphy?
Well, the moral of the story is don't buy Murano glass when you're on holiday.
Yes. Yeah.
Waterford crystal and put it in your suitcase.
Yeah, that's why my laptop, when I travelled, my laptop was wrapped up in every piece of clothing and towel that I had. Lee Williams.
A quick one. Is there any English people actually working there? Only as a guess. Wouldn't know.
No, I wouldn't have thought so. Certainly not those, not the money you get for airport baggage handlers. Paul Brooker.
Sorry, Warren. I've just had a notification. Two of my friends, Emma and Darren, have just welcomed their son, Liam Summers, born today at 8:20 p.m. So I'm giving them a little shout out. They don't watch the show, but do you know what? It's good to celebrate new life once in a while.
It is fantastic. And pass on from the show all the best, all the bit and the most, the heartiest congratulations and best wishes for their newborn, buddy.
Definitely. Right, my next one. There's something going on in the UK at the moment because an illegal migrant got caught yesterday in a school and he's just been caught again today going to a different school.
Oh, my God.
Was he charged with anything today?
No, he's released on the bail warrant.
Okay.
A bail warrant means he's
just because he so he didn't get like no trespassing or anything like that.
Not so.
So okay, so basically he done nothing wrong today.
Like I said to your friends before, I was not there, or not the officers who dealt with it.
Is it deemed to be an offence though? Could you if you look at the bigger picture, there's two guys have entered to school grounds, whatever way, shape or form. Is that not a safeguarding issue?
It is a safeguarding issue. I actually agree with you there.
Is it a chargeable offence?
And it could also be civil trespass.
But what about aggravated trespass? Because if they've climbed over, say, a school fence or however,
aggravated trespass is a bit more than just going into.
But we've got to look at if these are just random guys. They're not parents. Do you know what I'm saying?
No, but we also go look at the law as well.
Yeah, but
aggravated trespass is forcefully entering a private property. Is it or is it not? Without consent. Is it or is it not?
It's not quite that simple.
But it is.
No, it's not.
You jumped straight over the fence.
It's not quite that simple.
That's aggravated trespass.
Okay, if you'd like to look it up,
please force to get over that fence and get in.
I'm sorry, I'm not going to have a debate about it. Okay?
Maybe if he was born and bred here, it would be.
I wasn't there at the time. The officers who dealt with him dealt with him.
So, is it because the school are not pressing charges, so it would be down to them? Is that what that would fall under? No, I'm just asking. I know you wasn't there, so I'm not holding you personally responsible or anything like that.
Because I'm not there for the
but what I'm trying to get at is if he is, say, trespassing on school property, that is something for the school to then want to press charges against.
Well, the school
Right?
school should ask him to leave, and obviously the police were called.
Right.
And found out he's wanted on a warrant.
Yes, so that's why he was arrested and the other guy wasn't.
That's why he was.
Do you think then the law should change based on what we've just discussed for them types of situations?
My job is not to comment on whether the law should be changed or not. My job is to enforce the law as it stands, as passed by Parliament.
Did you say, I just want to clarify this, did you just say a minute ago that if you climbed over a fence into a private area, that's not deemed as aggravated trespassing?
No, I didn't say that.
No, you didn't say that, no?
Did he or did
You said it wasn't aggravated.
It's trespass. It's not aggravated trespass.
So if somebody climbs over a fence into a private area, that is not deemed as aggravated trespass?
Someone claimed into my garden.
That's trespass. It's civil trespass.
So I've been at a migrant hotel, because I've been to quite a lot of these, and I'm quite reliably informed, that if I went over a fence, that's kind of not breaking entry, but you're not meant to go in there. So once you climb over that fence,
you are a trespasser.
You are aggravated because you have aggravated matters by climbing over. That's the way it's been explained to me.
Okay.
But if you're saying
I'm not going to debate it.
No, I'm just happy to have
I suppose
that.
you need to clear that up for your own.
But is that different police forces see the law in a different way?
The law's the law, the law's the law.
And like I say, you asked me, should the law be changed? I can't comment on that because that's not my job. I can only enforce the law as it stands at the moment.
Can I just ask one question in regards if he was released on bail, but apparently the guy's homeless? Does that not raise concerns that he's not going to return to?
We can only keep people in custody if we've got lawful power to do so. If we didn't have a lawful power to do so, we as well.
But if he was arrested on the initial for breaking them conditions in the first place, there's a chance he's going to probably do it again. If he was arrested today on the basis that he broke previous conditions. Right, and then he's been released on bail again. Surely there's a much higher chance that he's going to do it again.
But if the warrant says he's got to be released on bail, we've got to release him on bail, and that's what we did. That's the law.
So I recognise one of those voices to the people asking the questions. Very, very simply here, I'm going to ask you a very straightforward question. Why was he allowed to do it a second time? If he'd already climbed over a school gate and done it once, in what way is that not trespassing? If the school is not open to you and you climb over, you're breaking and entering and trespassing.
Well, here's the terrifying thing, Warren. So him and another person climbed a fence or got into a school yesterday. He's now been spotted outside the school. Did he get in the school? I don't know. We've just spent an astronomical amount of money across the whole country turning schools into miniature fortresses. This has just showed us it is completely useless because they cannot be prosecuted once they're inside the grounds. So what was the point in putting all these gates up, all this fencing, when they can climb the fence, get in, and the police can just sort of go, yeah, he climbed over, it's only trespass, that's civil. Hang on a minute. Why fortify the schools in the first place then?
Yeah. I'm not being funny and taking matters into my own hands here. Sean Murphy.
Well, I noticed that was actually at Loughton, which is only just down the road from Epping. Same police force.
Not good. Not
Essex
good.
Police.
Yep.
Same police force.
Mark Breckle.
So it says a lot about that police force.
It does. Mark Breckle and then Lee Williams.
Well, the thing with Epping is there's a lot of migrants been moved to an airbase there. But the other thing is, though, once you go to a migrant hotel and start wandering around, you get arrested. But if you go to a school, it doesn't matter, does it? Because there's no immigrants there. Again, I will presume it's two-tier policing, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. Lee Williams.
I was going to say, apparently he wasn't local to the hotel that is in Epping, but then where did he actually come from and why does he do it 2 times? Is it going to be 3rd time lucky that it's a crime?
Yeah, good call. That is the end of the first hour. We'll get a little over the first hour. If you want to see more, come across and join us. WarrenThornton.com. Bye for now. There we are. Thank you very much. If you were watching on the live stream, as I say, come across and see the rest of the show over at WarrenThornton.com, which is for subscribers, where we'll be showing stuff we get banned for elsewhere. Right, let's get on with the show. It is just me and the subscribers. I think Paul has had to shoot off. So let's get into some more stories because there is a lot more to talk about. Nick Buckley, who is a friend of the show, he is in a bit of trouble. He's being watched. Now, Nick Buckley, as an MBE, you will have seen me on a couple of occasions appear with Nick on certain shows. And, of course, to do with veterans and to do with all sorts of things that are going on when it comes to No to NATO. Now, let's have a little look at this, because on Nick Buckley's LinkedIn, suddenly he's got all these police following him. Isn't this strange? 3 working at Greater Manchester, 2 working at National Chiefs Police Council, 2 working at Police Now, 11 who work at the Metropolitan Police, and 3 who work at British Transport Police. Now, you have to wonder if he suddenly picked up a lot of extra followers, or they're going after Nick. Of course, one of those. I'm not saying that they're going after him, but it certainly looks very, very strange, does it not? Let's get into this now, because of course there are other things we're going to lighten the mood a little. In the competition for Polish drones for Russian drones being spotted in Poland, and you do know, of course, that it is now a national, should we say, crisis, and of course the Poles are just having all the fun with it that they possibly can. Let's have a look at a couple of these videos.
W końcu coś się dzieje, do chuja wafla, już tak trudno było.
Now, I cannot tell you the craze this has become in Poland. It has become absolute. Literally, there are TikToks of these drones appearing all over Poland.
Macio, uciekaj, drony leci, a. Poczekaj, drony wodą. Boha, nie ten kriwi. Pozri, już się trafił. Pozri se, jesteś z Ruska.
Even the Poles don't believe them. It is quite, even the Polish people don't believe their own government. Mark Breckle.
Well, I was looking at one text, and they said every time the lawnmower starts going off, they start reporting it to the police. So the police are panicking now. They're sick of it. So they're panicking because obviously a drone makes the same noise as a lawnmower, doesn't it? So
yeah, it does. It's quite ridiculous. Sean Murphy.
I can't remember where I saw it. It might have been on the show this morning, Warren. The guy who's sitting on a wall and somebody's coming past, pulling, a suitcase with wheels.
Yes,
over a sort of rough road.
Yeah, we played it yesterday. Yeah, and of course he's diving for cover. Quite
diving
incredible.
for cover.
Yes, yeah, we played that one yesterday, and of course they're bang on. We're going to get into some of the Ukraine stuff now because there's been quite a lot that has been happening. Now, when we said what was happening with all the various areas where troops were being rushed to Kupiansk and various others that were going on, we were turning around and saying this is going to affect other areas. Well, this has had an immediate effect where they've been taking troops because the Russians have started pushing in all directions. Now, this is Volchansk, which is up in the north. And of course, the Russians are moving in, as I say, there very, very quickly indeed. People are starting to retreat. It shows how bad the situation is if all these areas that I'm about to show you are suddenly becoming a liability. At Konstantinivka, they are now literally creeping into the edges of Konstantinivka. And of course, Konstantinivka is one of those major links, of course, in the Donbass. That, of course, once they get a good foothold in there, they're going to be very difficult to shift. Krasny Liman as well has seen movement in the last 24 hours. Very, very simply, you can see from there, the Russians have gained another 539 meters because of the men that have been taken away. The Ukrainians have had to pull back to a certain position. And of course, that's not the only area. We've got another one as well. Krasnomayorsk is now in real danger of collapsing. The Russians are now in here, as you can see. So where this was meant to be just the Russians here, of course, where the Ukrainians have had to give up positions where they haven't got enough men to defend it, the Russians are now moving in and they're getting very, very close there. So that's 4 different areas in the space of 24 hours that they've managed to make major gains in. And that, of course, is going to panic absolutely everybody, left, right, and centre. And as I say, this was always going to happen. Somebody had their hand up there and took it down again.
Yeah, just a quick one, Warren. Is it still 1,600 to 1 plus, or
what on the deaths?
Yes.
Right. Well, let's get into that because we've got some more movement on when it comes to the death. Now, you will remember the repatriated body, and we've got Larry Johnson out there has gone a bit silly overboard, saying that there is 9,000 repatriated bodies since the 1st of January of this year. Completely false. Here you can see some of these here. the Russian bodies and the returned Ukrainians. You remember we showed you a chart of this right from the word go. So when you look at some of the numbers that are coming in, well, we've had an update on that. There's been another 1,000 bodies exchanged just today. 24 Russian bodies going back the other way. 1,000 bodies being returned to Ukraine. That's around about 39, something like that, to 1, 39, 40 to 1. Not good. And of course, the latest returns are looking even worse. So as you can see here, from 2025. Now, this doesn't include the 6,000 bodies that were returned in that one hit. So from January 2025, you can see 757. You can see the Russian ones down here in the red. 909, 909, 909, 1,212, 1,200, 1,200, 1,200, 1,248, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000. So well over 9,000 that have just been, that's just repatriation, and that always gives you a really good idea. So we are talking the best part of 2 million dead Ukrainians. And of course, there's lots of people who are still arguing the toss, saying that's not true, that's not true. It is true. We've got people who are there. We know that that's happening. They have got, and people turn around and go, oh, this is not happening either. They have got over 60s in the Ukraine military, okay? Over 60-year-olds. There are over 2,000 over 60-year-olds now currently in the Ukrainian armed forces. 2,000 of them are currently there. And of course, everybody is pushing for Zelensky to take over. Now, this is a crazy thing because they're, as I say, they're always getting ready. We've always talked about Zelensky and everything else. This guy is as of through and through. This will make no difference whatsoever if he becomes, shall we say, the replacement for Zelensky, which is exactly what Great Britain and many other countries would like for Zelensky to be the replacement. Now, why is this such a key thing? Well, they're putting out already a load of nonsense about this. They're already saying there's a poll being taken. And of course, this poll, you have to look who it's funded by. It's funded by the West, saying that Zelensky would be 29%, 33%, Zelensky 25, 28. And just for good measure, they're making sure that everybody else is well down on the list, like Poroshenko, Budanov. They've even got Alexander Usyk in there, Razumanov. They're talking Timoshenko as well. Vitaly Klitschko, they're putting down as low as they can because, of course, they want, how can I put it, they want their boy put forward. America would much rather have someone like Klitschko in charge. But, of course, the West are pushing this agenda hard. They're trying to make sure that other people are also out of the running. Lee Williams.
Quick one. Is there how many Colombians have actually died there? Is there any figure of that, or is it all
Colombians that have died there? They sent 7,000 there. People are saying, oh, there's only 500 or 600. That have died. Colombians have died there. It's complete nonsense. Let's have a little look at this. The foreign fighters that are over there have been dropping like flies, and the numbers that they're sharing. This is the numbers they're sharing, not the numbers they actually have. It is the numbers they're sharing are saying there's not that many. But let's get into this a little bit. So they're saying this is what the Ukrainians are saying. 3,000 foreign mercenaries have died, gone missing in Ukraine in the ranks of the Ukraine armed forces. They're saying that Russian hackers hacked the work email of one of the Ukrainian armed forces officers and obtained data on the killed combat logs and reports of just one area. The documents found by hackers from Nessus CGOP include 1,000 people, among them from Colombia 303, the USA 89, Georgia 86, Britain 42, Brazil 29, France 25, and Poland 19. Now that's nonsense because Poland are the second biggest losers of mercs. Most of the Colombian mercenaries died in the Kursk region. That is true, but there's far more have died than they're saying, far more than the 303 that they're saying. Most, as they say, the list includes military personnel from cruise regions, 1 each from Barbados, Costa Rica, 4 from Sri Lanka, another 2,000 considered missing. Foreigners from the 3rd Separatist Assault Azov Brigade suffered heavy losses in the Donetsk and Luhansk region, including on the territory of the Russian Federation, in addition to the failed offensive, groups from the French Legion and Bryansk and many others. Now, they are saying that these people are just from Kursk alone and a couple of other areas, but there are many, many more dead than they are letting on. And of course, the Russians have access to some of these emails, but not all of them. And of course, we've got access with people who are right there. And of course, they're saying that the numbers are much, much higher. Mark Breckle.
I had the exact photograph of you, what you've got, Warren, and it was taken off my TikTok and removed.
There we go. There we go. It is where you sort of look at it, isn't it? And you think this is getting worse and worse and worse. And what is even worse is the stupidity of their commanders. Now, I'm going to show you a picture here, and it beggars belief what you're actually seeing. In military terms, if you think that this is a good idea, God help us. Let's have a look. So this is a photograph that the Ukrainians have published of their new defense. This is right out in the middle of an open field. This is the network, as they're showing here, of trenches that they're going to be using to try and defend an open field. I'm hoping to God, I mean, I can't see that it's going to be a troll, and that I'm hoping that it's just a made-up troll. But it certainly doesn't look like it, because it's got the zigzags of the trenches that you would expect to have, and also the ladders and everything else, as you can see in these pictures, and the network of tunnels. Mark Breckle.
Well, they just built a load of tunnels like that, and the Russians have just walked on top of it. There was no one there. They legged it. So, and that was the best defence they had. So they're in problems.
It is absolutely staggering that they think that that is okay, honestly, or that that's going to be some sort of defence. Lee Williams.
Is that representing anarchy or runaway fast? I don't know. The actual print of it looks like
it's a representative of unbelievable stupidity. To do that in an open field, are you mad? Let's have a look at it. Mark Breckle, you were talking about the Zaporozhye region. Well, there's a new set of Russian units that have walked in to the Zaporozhye region, and this is the motif. Now, there are a lot of military vehicles appearing with these symbols on, and they're all headed to Zaporozhye. So you have to wonder if there is something coming up in that region. It certainly looks that way. Certainly looks that way.
Well, they dropped a bridge there, Warren.
Yep. Go on.
Yeah, they dropped the main bridge, and there was only about 9 kilometres to go along there, but they haven't taken Stepnogorsk yet. So once they take that, you've got open fields, and then they'll get to that bridge then.
That they have. And if you want to see what's happening to the Ukrainians, the brand new recruits, when they get them fresh off, drag them out of their vehicles, and they throw them onto the front lines. Have a look at this.
Раскудрявый клен, зеленый лист знай, я влюбленный, искушенный пред тобой. Клен зеленый, да клен кудрявый, раскудрявый резной. А смуглянка, молдаванка, отвечай.
That was within 20 minutes of being dropped off. 20 minutes being dropped off into that area where they're just literally being lined up. This is another kill zone inside Pokrovsk. Now, this is the Azov 3rd Battalion who are losing men heavily. Quite incredible how many they're losing. They are actually dropping like flies. And of course, people are turning around and going, when is this going to stop? When are we going to get weapons and everything else? The nonsense that is coming out from them left, right, and centre, thinking that they are going to survive and everybody's going to be okay. I'm going to give you some of the dead that have appeared on the Russian hack, by the way. Ryan Evans from the UK, security advisor, killed near Kramatorsk. Richard Curlin from the USA, embassy attaché and military advisor, found dead at the hotel, not killed by the Russians. Mike Melio from the USA, American instructor, died in hospital after a traffic accident in the rear. Yes, make your own jokes on that one. Dimitrios Ferrara from Germany, advisor and instructor, killed. Jonathan Schenkin from the UK, security advisor, killed. There are also cases of friendly fire within the ranks of the International Legion. Jordan Chadwick, of course, who was killed near Bakhmut in 2023, and Daniel Burke in Zaporizhia, and the Brazilian William Cavalcanti died after being shot by his own comrades. Foreigners not meeting their deaths on the battlefields from accidents. Alexander Herkovantsy from Georgia, who died of a heart attack, and Alan Desrat from Canada, who died of a heart attack in Kherson. So as you can imagine, there does seem to be one or two things that are befalling people, shall we say, in various countries. Would that be the best way of putting it? They do seem to be meeting up with all sorts of accidents. If you're a merc, keep your backside home. You're absolutely stupid if you go out there and die for these people. Honestly, seriously. Let's have a little look at this.
I would like you to remind of the true security guarantees for Ukraine, which is Ukraine getting back to the founding documents which resulted in its independence, sovereignty and statehood. These documents state the non-nuclear neutral status, the non-bloc status of Ukraine. These are exactly the security guarantees for the country, the ones that the country itself assumed. They assumed responsibility to live in accordance with international law, to be a truly sovereign and independent state, and to pursue a peaceful policy.
Now, they'd already got security guarantees. That's right. The Russians had already guaranteed that if you don't join NATO, if you don't have more than this amount of military build-up and you stop killing people in the Donbass, you're going to be okay. We're not going to go anywhere near you. Of course, they decided not to do that. Mark Breckle.
Yeah, you're right. That's all they had to do, just make the Donbass independent. They could have kept Crimea and all the rest of Ukraine if they wanted to. Crimea probably would have been a republic, but if they kept the normal government, they would have never had any of this trouble. There wouldn't never had any of this death. And I blame America. It was America's war. They did all this.
Yes. Let's have a little look at this, because the way we treat our war heroes slightly different to the way Russia treat theirs.
В служении Родине и пошли на то, чтобы рисковать своим здоровьем, жизнью рисковать. И таких людей нужно выдвигать на руководящие посты. Это вот будет наша смена. Вот об этом мы должны подумать.
Now, you heard right. He's going to reward the people who have fought so well and looked after Russia's sovereignty to positions, rather than just let them go on the streets and everything else. They're going to get promoted up through the ranks, and of course they're going to be given positions within the government. Mark Breckle.
Well, you join the Russian army, you get 45 grand, you get a pension, and then you, like you say, you go up the ranks because you're experienced. Yeah. And again, you're not thrown on the streets. I've said this for a long time. You get treated really good in Russia. So even the teachers get treated better than what we do.
Yes, absolutely crazy, isn't it? Let's have a look at this. This is something crazy. The drone that appeared over the Polish palace. Turned out it's Ukrainian. Uh, and of course, they're now trying to downplay this, and they're desperately trying to back away from it. But the drone that appeared over the Polish palace that everybody said was Russian turned out not to be at all. In fact, it turned out, as I say, to be Ukrainian, and the Poles are now wanting an explanation. It's not the first one that's been over there. If you wanted to see somebody, should we say, with a face looking like they'd sucked on a lemon, you would go no better. You would do no better than to look at the Sky News reporter who decided to ask Lukashenko, the head of Belarus, a question. Have a look.
Normally, in an election, the other candidates will be highly critical of the incumbent because they want to replace them. But here, of course, criticism of you, the president, is banned. So how is this a fair election?
Это у вас не просто критикуют власть, а поносят ее как хотят, и вы уже достукались до того, что вами уже недавно управлял индус. Я почему это говорю? Ну, когда я встречался с англичанами, говорю, ну вы, англичане, молодцы. Когда-то были империей, а сейчас ваши подопечные вами управляют. Странно. Для Великобритании не сказать странно. Ну, а у нас вот странность власть не критикует. Я никому ничего не запрещал. Не запрещал, прежде всего потому, что мне это не надо.
Now, you might not agree with Lukashenko's brutal assessment, but his assessment very simply was you've had your colonials come in, take over positions in the government, and they're now ruling you. Mark Breck.
Actually, I've seen Lukashenko, and he goes around all the farms, all the factories, and anything that's not working where he thinks is, he changes it. He changes it there and then. He went to a farm, and it was a slaughterhouse, and he said, "If you don't change now, I'm shutting you down." He's a really intelligent guy. Just look at his hands. He's got hands like shovels.
Yeah,
he's not a pushover.
No, Robert.
Have any of the Australian troops in Poland been leaving food out at night?
So let's get into that a little bit then, because there has been should we say, a bit of a thing going on, because what they've decided now, I'm going to get into, because it sort of follows on from this. This happened in Penn State.
The situation today involved law enforcement officers who were shot. I can confirm that the shooter is dead. I can confirm that there were 5 law enforcement officers who were shot today. 3 fatally, 2 that were transported here to Wellspan in York. They are currently listed in critical but stable condition.
And the Australians authorities have come out and said, look what's happening in America. They're taking this directly. These guys are being inspired to shoot police officers because of what Freeman has done, what Desi Freeman has done. And of course, this has angered the Australians rather than made them sort of go, yeah, okay, you might have a point here. The Australians have actually got very, very angry about this. And most of them have been, should we say, bombarding the wall of these people and saying that this is, just you trying to do this, you trying to do this. How can I put this? What is coming out there? Desi Freeman publicly claimed to be a sovereign citizen, and of course he had the thing that really infuriated them was Desi Freeman stayed afloat financially for 20 years when the banks shut down his bank accounts. Now, this is quite crazy, isn't it? Because they're turning around and saying that he was a perfectly free man, but they'd actually shut his bank accounts down, which seems absolutely crazy. And of course, the timeline is very interesting with Desi Freeman. Now, there is a really good video out there. If you go onto YouTube and you type in "huge Desi Freeman," on YouTube. Just put that in, and you will see a really good video on what's going on with Desi Freeman. It is quite staggering. And if you're in any doubt whatsoever, just Google Desi Freeman and see what's coming up. There are many regional Queenslanders. People turning around and going, "Oh, it's so many millions of square yards and everything else that he can hold on to." But it seems like they froze his bank account, and of course, people turning around and saying that we're not having any of this nonsense, and these government operatives left him no way out and left him no choice. So that's where we are with this at the moment, Robert. More and more people are taking dead. The more the authorities try to decry this guy, the more they're protecting him.
I thought he was from Victoria.
He is, but the people of Queensland are turning around and saying, "Come and live here, move here, because you've got far more area to hide out in." Which is you can't make it up, can you? So there we go. When it comes to Desi, the Australians are right behind you. This is happening in Lyon, in France. Police are now using mortar smoke bombs to try and disperse people. Can you believe that? They're actually using mortar smoke bombs on their own people to try and get rid of them. Lee Williams.
I was going to say, is that Africa? Sorry, I've got it mixed up. Is that in France? Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Does seem like it, doesn't it? Does seem like it. Venezuela have had a bit of a run-in. They're at the UN, and they have accused the US of violating its sovereignty. Now, the reason they're obviously talking about this because they boarded a boat with nine sailors on in Venezuelan waters. They thought it was in international waters, and it wasn't. It was actually in Venezuelan waters. So they have now brought this up at the UN, left a bit of egg on people's faces, I'm afraid, which is quite crazy, isn't it? Or seems to be quite crazy, but not as crazy as some of the stuff we're about to show you. Have a little look at this. This will or should chill you to the bone if you're British. This is Liz Kendall talking about digital IDs. Get ready.
We know the government is looking at digital ID cards at the moment. How would that help prevent the situation that we're in now?
Well, Keir Starmer, our Prime Minister, has said we are looking at what other countries have done to bring in a sort of digital accreditation. I think there's real actually benefits right across here from obviously dealing with illegal working, but also actually imagine if your viewers imagine that they had one credential that would allow them to access all the different government services and our public services do. I'm sure many of your viewers often tear their hair out with all the different numbers and passwords of the different bits of government that they have to deal with. And I do think there could be a real benefit here for people who are here and working legally and accessing our public services if there was one route in, as well as the benefits it could have with illegal migration. We're looking at that. I think it is an interesting idea that other countries have taken forward, and we want to learn from what they've done.
We know the government is...
Now, that was her start. She then went on to threaten people that, of course, this is coming, and if they don't take part in it, then they're going to be left behind. In other words, they will shut off any access. And of course, if that doesn't scare you, it should. Andy.
Let's do it the other way around. Anyone coming here gets an ID card.
Yes, much easier, isn't it? And much better. Yeah. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. At least you can keep track of the buggers.
Yes, absolutely. Without a shadow of a doubt. And of course, as I say, they're trying to threaten people with that sort of thing. Yeah. It's pretty awful. and I think we're going to get worse and worse and worse. Robert, did you want to say something?
No, finished.
Okay, I'll just mute the mics there. Let's get on with this next article then, because literally Le Cornu was voted in. Now, literally the whole of France's services shut down today. That included access to the Eiffel Tower, because the French are going on a day of block on their various days of block everything. They are not having Le Cornu either. So Macron thinking that he could possibly get away with another year of doing, of managing to hold on for another year, and then von der Leyen becomes the head of Germany, and of course Macron moves into her seat as the head of the European Commission, is not going to work. Already people are talking about they do not want this government. They want it moved out of the way. And it looks as though straight after Christmas, they could force another no confidence vote, maybe even earlier. So Macron is not safe whatsoever. There have been lots of people turning around and saying that Charlie Hebdo are going to get in even more trouble because they released this cartoon. When, of course, we all know what happened with Charlie Hebdo when they dared to take the mickey out of Mohammed to do with Islam. And then, of course, this cartoon says genocide, everybody. And then, of course, you've got Israel saying, yes, you are all wrong, which is pretty spot on the money, to be fair. And, of course, everybody's going to start going mad. As for the digital IDs, you're quite right what you're saying in the comments there. Something else that is interesting. Have a look at this. So this was the BBC department. How eating insects became a conspiracy theory. And then, of course, here we have the edible insects coming to a supermarket near you. Now, the BBC are being hauled over the coals as one of 17 instances where they have called people, or they've called the people putting forward various things as a conspiracy theory, and later on it has been proven to be absolutely true. Now, the people that have reported the watchdogs, the BBC are turning around saying this is unfair, it's not correct, and they shouldn't be punished in this fashion. But of course, people are not listening. A couple of other things that we need to touch on as well. We need to touch on the Russian assets. Once again, Trump and Europe are at odds over how to sanction. The EU also looks to tap billions of dollars in frozen Russian assets for the first time in the conflict. Now, they're putting this forward. Nothing could be further from the truth. They've already had most of the Russian assets. This is all a concerted effort, a concerted propaganda thing, basically to say to you, look, we're going to have to touch the Russian assets. We don't want to, but we've talked about it enough. Something needs to be done. They have seen and pinched and spent 75%, 75% wrong, hang on, 71% of the Russian assets are already have been used. And this is all smoke and mirrors to make sure that these Russian assets are finally held on to, and they don't have to pay this money back, because it is going to bankrupt a few countries if they carry on the way they're going. Let's have a little look at this. The air conditioning didn't work on a flight. Nobody was really that bothered about it, apart from the...
Bring her water, please. Bring her water now. Look what you're doing here. It's a hell. אני פשוט רועדת, אני לא יכולה יותר. תביאו לה שתייה, bring her water.
Everybody else on the flight, perfectly okay. Kind of odd. Let's have a little look at this now. We did have to bring you this because I just found this hilarious, and I wanted to bring it to you because I thought if ever you've seen somebody who, shall we say, is not the brightest chocolate in the box, let's have a little look at what he did. This is a guy who's been fired, would you believe, as a counter assistant from Walmart.
Yo guys, I'm officially fired from Primark.
Primark.
I'm officially fired from Primark. They fired me because of the investigation that was going on because of my TikTok videos. But you know what? It's alright, Primark. No warning, no nothing. Here now, bye. Got the letter. Let me read you guys the letter. Alright, let's not try and bait anything, yeah? Position retail assistant, yeah, blah, blah. Outcome of the probation review hearing. But you know what, guys? You know what? I'm not going to crash out because I really don't give a fuck, yeah? But I'll tell you one thing, yeah? You know, Primark managers, they're so racist. Like, not all of them, but there's some that don't even treat you fairly, bro. But I'll bet, you know what, I'm even gonna say their names, like, only some of them, innit? Like, fucking Bex, yeah, the one that fucking escorted me yesterday out the flipping thingy. She's, bro, and flipping Nicole, the one that reviewed my hearing and, like, determined the outcome. It's funny, yeah, Nicole, that the day before that I got kicked out, she was all nice to me. She was like, oh, how's your day, blah, blah, like, all of that, yeah. Doing all of that, she had the outcome in her mind already. But you know what? It's alright, bro. Imagine saying all of that and knowing that I'm gonna get kicked out. Like, at this point, don't even speak to me, bro. But you know what? It's alright, Nicole. It's alright. Fuck the Primark managers, bro. Not all of them. Of course, there was some that were very nice to me. Can't lie, but there was some that were, you know, I'm not gonna swear or anything like that, but yeah. But yeah, let's get into detail of it. Yeah, so basically, I failed my probation review hearing because of the TikToks that I was doing. For no, like, bro, guys, go check my page out, yeah, and tell me if the videos are that bad. Like, are they really that sad? No warning, no nothing, straight out. They were like, did he even give me like a final warning or to like give me a warning and be like, you know what, don't do this again because if you do, we're gonna kick you out. Nothing like that. But here's the reasons why they kicked me out. Like, yo, guys, tell me if these are good enough reasons. A breach of Primark policies, apparently breaching colleague handbook about like making videos, covert recordings for recording, serious breach of trust. What? What do you mean breach of trust? Like, what trust do we even have? Clearly, there's a lot of trust when you just kick me out with no warning. Rudeness or conduct like to give offense to customers or fellow colleagues. Oh my days, bro. But yeah, you'll be paid for an outstanding annual leave due to the next normal payday payroll. Your P45 will be sent under a separate cover. You know what, guys? I'll tell you one thing, yeah. Do not go work for Primark because listen, there are some nice managers, but it will make your life hell. Like, I didn't want to like argue with no managers or anything like that, but there are managers out there that don't give a fuck, bro. You know what as well? Hope Bex is watching this as well, yeah? I bet when she was doing, like, when she handed me the letter, she was like, yeah, we're going to terminate your employment. She definitely enjoyed that. Like, she's the type of manager that just loves having power, bro. But you know what? Primark did their thing.
God help us if that is the face of what is going to go on in Britain. Of course, we're talking about getting fired from Primark as well. We're not looking about anything else. Somebody had their hand up. Lee Williams.
Yeah, sorry, quick one. Are they brainwashed or are they robots, as in being so-called managers of these companies?
Well, what was unbelievable was this guy was on probation, and I looked into it further. He told a customer to suck his appendage when the customer asked him a question because I'm busy recording a TikTok. That doesn't tell you everything.
Not allowed to tell the truth, obviously. It's not allowed to tell the truth because he's working for a company.
Yeah. But he was recording TikToks and other customers without their permission while he was in work. Mark Breckle.
Absolutely thick as a workhouse butty, wasn't he?
It is quite staggering how these people think. I mean, it's not like we're losing again. To get fired from Primark, you've got to be a bit dense. I don't mean that awfully. You really have got to be a bit, should we say, not of the going to work on the other bus in terms of brain cells. You know, for instance,
not the highest caliber of companies to work for.
No, let's also get into this little bit as well, and this is really important. And we're going to put Alexander Makouros on in a minute, but just getting into this little bit as well, which is quite crazy. In his time at work, get this now, I'm going to drop the bombshell on you. He worked there for 3 months. He was still on probation. Okay, he was still on probation. In his time at work, he managed to make and download 427 TikToks while he was supposed to be working, and he wondered why he got fired. Quite incredible. Let's have a little look at this now. This is a well-mannered guest who decided to come up and help himself to dinner.
Потом Леха скинешь мне, понял? А ты мне перекинешь. Обязательно. Сними-ка во мне до пояса. Ты это точно не увидишь. Куда пошел? Вот так вот. А ты такой увидишь.
There we are, fish canning factory out in the wilderness where the bears come up and just take one fish at a time. I'm not going to be greedy. That is Mark Breckle.
That was at Kamchatka, where the earthquake was.
It
is. It's surprising what the internet's done for that place. You know, it was like minus 50. Yeah. The temperature, and it was a Soviet naval base, so you couldn't actually get into it. So I think with me sending videos on the earthquake to you, and I think I put that city on the map for a change.
it is quite crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
What they sort of talking about.
It is a desolate place to live.
It is. We're going to give you a little bit now of Alexander Mercurios, who is in Chicago to get an award, and very, very good luck to him. Anybody who's anybody in the world of alternative media, which isn't us, is out there at the moment and taking part in these awards. We're going to let Alexander explain it in his own inimitable way. We're going to play about 5 or 10 minutes of this, just so you can have a look, so you can see what has been going on in his world and in the front lines. We do like to catch up with Alexander from time to time. If you don't give this guy a watch, he is very well worth having a watch of, because he does talk a lot of sense. Let's get the video.
Report of the meeting which quotes Zelensky's exact words. Quite possibly such a report exists, but I obviously wasn't at the meeting. I'm getting these reports at second and third hand. But I have no doubt that the reports that I'm getting are accurate, and it appears that Zelensky told the MPs, the members of the Ukrainian Parliament, that if the situation on the battlefronts gets significantly worse, then difficult decisions might have to be made. He didn't say, of course, what those difficult decisions were. Now, that looks to me very much like Zelensky trying to prepare members of his party who have been loyally chorusing the mantra that all is well and that the situation is under control. Anyway, that looks to me like Zelensky preparing members of his party for the reality that things are not altogether well, that there is indeed going to be a military crisis, and that there is going to be very bad news from the battlefronts before very long. At least that is my understanding of what he said, and based on that understanding, that is my interpretation of what he meant. Now, he's not obviously saying yet that Ukraine is going to lose the war, but if these words are being quoted correctly, then he has come closer than he has ever done up to now to doing so. Now, that was one thing that Zelensky said. Zelensky has also, of course, been saying something different as well, because, of course, even as he appears to be admitting that the war is being lost, he's back to the old story of demanding more money from the West. And he says that Ukraine will need $120 billion to get through 2026, because he no longer expects the war to end this year. He says that he's going to do what he can to make the war end this year, but he now accepts that that is unlikely. So he needs $120 billion, ultimately from the West, 60 billion to cover the budget, the military budget, another 60 billion direct aid for the military, and of course he has demands, other demands for more money still to cover civilian needs as well. What he was talking about was purely about military costs. So we could see Zelensky doing what he always does, even as he admits or comes close to admitting that things are falling apart and that the war is being lost. He comes back and he says, give me more money. This has become the constant theme of the Zelensky government since at least the summer of 2022, when Zelensky pulled out of the Istanbul agreements, and with every month it gets louder and louder and the demands grow greater and greater. Well, that inevitably brings me now to a discussion of the military situation. And is Zelensky right? Is he actually right that the situation is deteriorating and that there might need to be major critical decisions made in light of that deterioration? Well, of course, the answer is yes. Now, the Russian...
I am Peggy. I seek lost things. Caught in a storm, my ship was destroyed. When I...
Commander of the forces in the area of the special military operation is General Gerasimov, the chief of the general staff. And as it happened, he did what he often does now, which is that he visited the front lines, and very unusually, he provided an update about the military situation, the situation overall on the battlefronts. Now, this is not something that the Russians have until recently done. Until fairly recently, the practice of the Russian High Command was to say as little as possible about the war and the progress of the war. That Gerasimov always used to be very, very tight-lipped about the situation. About 2 weeks ago, suddenly, over the course of a discussion about military affairs, general military affairs, chaired by the Defense Minister Andrei Belousov, Gerasimov gave a detailed military update combined with maps telling us about what the military situation on the battlefronts was. And now, a short time later, he's done it again, though obviously to a more limited extent. And I'm going to read how the Russian Defense Ministry sums up what Gerasimov has been saying, what Gerasimov's view about the overall military situation is. Our troops in the Special Military Operations Zone are advancing on almost all fronts. The most intensive fighting takes place in the Pakrovsk direction, where the enemy is unsuccessfully trying to halt our advance and seize the initiative by any means, regardless of losses. To this end, the Ukrainian command has redeployed the most trained and combat-ready units to the Pakrovsk direction, to the detriment of other areas. Such actions are facilitating the advance of our troops in other directions of the front. The Zapad group of forces is advancing in the city of Kupiansk. Advance is progressing successfully in the direction of Krasny Liman. He means the town of Liman, where the liberation of Kirovsk, I believe this is the village of Shandrikalova, is close to completion. Our troops have entered the village of Yampol and did so yesterday, and are now conducting combat operations there. We have completely driven the enemy out of the Serebianca forest. Assault units of the Yug group of forces are advancing in the village of Siversk. In other words, there's a battle underway inside Siversk itself. In the Alexandro Kalinovo direction, this is an area to the southwest of Konstantinovka, fighting is ongoing in the immediate vicinity of Konstantinovka, and our troops have entered Plusheevka. The destruction of the enemy blocked, in other words, trapped, south of the Kliban-Bik reservoir continues. The Vostok group of forces continues its advance in Dnipropetrovsk and Zaporozhye regions.
So there we are. That was just a quick update. Do go and give him a follow, because there's a more detailed one than we provided here about what is happening there. But as we told you and as we showed you briefly in those pictures, and we will have a more up-to-date one than that. Tomorrow, by the way, we have a gentleman coming to talk to us. He has declined to come on camera, but he is talking to us about the British police and their efforts to not free a man who has been in jail for what many, many people claim is 30 years for a crime he never committed. That will be a special for you tomorrow evening. Mark Reckle.
Yeah, he was good. He did mention about Yampil, but he didn't mention about the ostrich farm that was behind it. I hope they're all right, the ostriches.
Yeah, one of those. But if you enjoy, if you want a more detailed explanation than the one we've given you, we've shown you the areas where the Russians are advancing all over the place. By all means, go and give him a look. There is his videos tend to be just over an hour or so long. Take care, everyone. Thank you for watching the show, and we will see you again in the morning. Bye-bye for now.